Welcome to this week's edition of Coach's Corner. Today, we take a deeper look into different parts of the program and give you guys a view into the inside. With today's episode, we'll be working with our athletic training department. A lot of you know our athletic trainer, but sometimes you don't know exactly what they're here to do. What we're going to try to do today is give you a little bit deeper look into what they do every day, what services they can provide for you, and how they can help you manage your athletes' movement through their athletic career. We're also going to look into a cheer program with one of our young cheerleaders, and then we're going to get another look into one of our leaders in the volleyball program. So we're really excited about today's program, and again, we're going to start that with our athletic trainer, and that is our head athletic trainer, Lisa Topham. Lisa, thank you for joining me today.
Of course, nice to be here.
All right, very good. Lisa, you know, we start every conversation out with one thing, because when you do what we do and you spend the amount of time that we do, especially you're here year round, because what most people may not know is, the athletic training department is never out of season. It's always season for you guys because y'all are taking care of kids year round. But to be able to do what you do starts with a great support system at home. So tell us a little bit about your support system at home.
So I am married to my husband, Kyle. I've been married to him for the last 3 years. We're coming up on our 4th year here in October. And then we have a son who is coming up on 7 months at the end of this month.
Awesome. That little boy is, not only is he unbelievable young man, but he gets to live around kind of the athletic world a little bit. When you're a trainer's kid, you're going to be around it your whole life, right?
For sure.
All right, well, good. The athletic training profession is obviously one that, it's hard to find incredible ones, and we do have an incredible one with you and Anya both. But tell me what interested you in a young age in the field of athletic training, and why have you gotten here today?
So I've been interested in it since high school. I found it my senior year when I sustained an injury in cross country. And I worked with my athletic trainer at the school, and that's where I got interested in it. I was already taking anatomy as a senior, and I really loved that. And then finding out that you could combine anatomy with sports sounded really awesome. So I immediately started looking into colleges who had programs, and went from there. And I fell in love with it since day one, and I've always known that I would be a AT, and as I'd say, that's been the career path since I started on this journey. So
awesome.
I'd say I really enjoy it. It is for sure a passion of mine.
Awesome, absolutely, and you do it with a great passion, and we thank you for that. So you talked about finding a program in college, because I know you've worked at the college level. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your experience at the college level. Where have you been, and what were you working with there?
So I have worked as a student and as a staff member in all 3 levels, D1, D2, and D3. Okay. My D1 program, I worked with D1 softball at the University of North Dakota. I worked at the D2 level as a student at Valdosta State University, where I got my undergrad, and I worked with all manner of sports there, from football all the way to working in an orthopedic clinic. And then my D3 was my last job before I came to Greenville, and that was at the University of Texas, Dallas. Okay. And I was very successful there. My volleyball and baseball programs both had conference championships under our belt, and awesome. I'd say it was a great program to work with.
No doubt. Well, we're glad we have you here. What brought you to the high school level? What made you want to make that change?
A bigger challenge, and just being able to improve my career. Everybody talks about working at Texas high schools. They're a beast. I'm not even from Texas, and I've heard of Texas high schools when it comes to athletic training. They're a whole nother level. Even from a college standpoint, it's just a bigger challenge, more athletes, differences of play, and a variety of athletes versus more focused in a college level. So.
Okay. Well, I think one of the biggest things that I think would be awesome for parents to hear, because again, no matter how many times you have parent meetings and you go through those things, sometimes they still might not know what things you're able to provide their kids. So why don't you give us a quick snippet? I know we could go for hours on everything that you can do and what you could do, but why don't you give everybody a quick glance into things that you provide for our kids on a daily basis?
So besides basic coverage of their events, practice, games, strength and conditioning, we do a variety of stuff for them in terms of both recovery, evaluation, rehabilitation, and return to play. We kind of are able to run the athlete through all aspects of their health, whether they are healthy and just looking for stuff to do to improve flexibility, or their recovery time or anything like that. We also help with the basic injuries that you see. We can do rehab here for them. We also have a variety of treatments stemming from just generalized cold therapy to all the way to manual therapy and specialized therapy such as cupping, soft tissue mobilization with an instrument, and even dry needling. I have that certification as well. Not often used in the high school setting.
No.
High schoolers don't like needles, but
No, they don't.
But we do offer like a very wide variety of manual therapy, which is very up and coming right now. Like with that's kind of the direction rehab and everything heads. Manual therapy does a lot, so we tend to utilize it more. So
awesome. One of the things we encourage parents to do is kind of follow a medical process when they're with us, right? I think it just helps us. The first being, once we sustain an injury, if it's not an emergency situation, allow you or Anya to evaluate that before we move on to the doctor. Why is that so important to the overall process of working with our kids?
Well, first and foremost, it catches things that may not need to go to the doctor immediately, things that we could work with them in a small setting and get them back to getting onto the field quicker. A lot of times our evaluations are going to be very similar to an orthopedic doctor. In fact, they did studies recently that athletic trainers and doctors' evaluations line up about 90% of the time. So being able to get to us and have access to us is essentially like an advantage in your pocket to avoid having to go to the doctor's office and potentially spend money on something that you can get at the school service for free. And on top of that, if you are to need a doctor, we have a streamlined process that we can get you guys, in and back and work with our doctors closely so that we shorten that time that they are off the field, that time that they are not getting to play their sport. Basically, our whole goal is to get you back on the field as quickly and safely as possible.
Awesome. And you talk about that evaluation process, and I think, again, something our parents need to hear from you is once you realize it's something that's going to need care beyond what you're capable of providing, what are the next steps?
The next steps is a referral, depending on where we need to go. Typically, we see orthopedic stuff, so orthopedic would be the doctor we would send to. But I see a variety of things too. I mean, we've had skin issues where, or maybe like sutures, stuff that needs to go to a primary care specialist or a dermatologist, stuff like that. We basically help with that referral process and help you get to the right channel that you need to. Not everything needs to go through a primary care doc, and sometimes that can be an added step which slows the process down. So we are the advantage in the sense that we can, help parents say, hey, like this is an orthopedic injury, it needs to go to an orthopedic doctor, and we can help you get to one.
Okay, very good. When and a lot of our parents, again, most of them have their own primary care doctors, which we can easily, obviously they can go there. But if they don't, who's the team that we work with most often?
We work with Hunt Regional. Specifically, our orthopedic is Dr. Wilson, but our team physician is Dr. Pierce and his PA, Jared Christensen.
All right, very good. So parents, we just make sure we know there's options for us all, whether we have our own primary doctors or not. We've got opportunities to get you where you need to be. But the most important thing is make sure that we get evaluations first, because we can usually take care of the things. Sometimes it don't need to go to the doctor. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's get to the little lighter side of things here, okay? I've been here, I guess, going on 7 months now. You've been here a little bit longer than I have. Not a ton, but about a year and a half more. Is that right?
This will be my third year.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
yep.
So you've been here about a year and a half more than I have. So in your time here, what have you found are the best parts of Greenville, Texas?
I do love that the whole community comes together for football and stuff. I think it's really cool to see community support, not just like parents on the sidelines during game days. I worked with a high school team in Georgia that had that same feel, and I was going to say there was just a different energy to it. There felt like there was, more passion from them in general. I like that small town football vibe. As I'd say, I've also kind of slowly discovered Greenville. I don't live within the city limits, but I love venturing out and finding stuff. In fact, 2 days ago, I found this really awesome little coffee shop called Prairie Coffee, and it was really good. I was going to say a good little spot, so and just right in downtown. So I'm discovering things pretty much as I go, but as I'd say, this town definitely has a very awesome small town vibe, and it's, as I'd say, I think it's very passionate about their sports.
Perfect, absolutely they are, and that's why it's exciting for all of us to be here, right? We want to be around a passionate group that are driven to do what it takes to be successful. Absolutely. All right, last question I'll ask, one of the foundational pieces of our athletic department we talk about all the time is love is free, trust is earned, okay? Talk to me about what your work is, or one, what that means to you, and number two, what does it look like for you to earn the trust of our community every day?
Just in terms of trust, like our whole job is built on trust. Our athletes trusting us to make medical decisions for them. Our coaches trusting us to know that we are not going to put an athlete on the field that's not going to give them what they need. The parents trusting us to be able to take care of their kid, because that is definitely something that has to be built. But being able to care for these kids and loving what we do and loving being around these kids, that's free. That's, as I'd say, that's something that we do with our job every day, regardless of whether or not, a kid coming for the first time is like, I don't know about these people, like I've only seen them running around, I haven't actually talked with them, and they don't know anything about us, but they're coming to us with an injury, trusting that we're going to take care of them and get them back. And I think building that is extremely important.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, we appreciate you being here. We're so thankful for everything you and Anya do. And parents, hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight to what Lisa does for us every single day in our athletic department. And hopefully that earns a little bit more trust for you to follow the processes and use their resources, because they are incredible for you. We'll be right back with our next segment.
At GEUS, we're proud of our competitive electric rates. And if you want to save even more, think about changing your thermostat by 4 degrees on some of the hottest or coldest days of the year. We call it 4 degrees of savings, and it's one way you can save money so you can have more nights out, more ice cream cones, and more fun with your family. GEUS, hometown service, world-class reliability.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Now we get a chance to look into one of our major support groups for the athletic program, and that is our cheer program. And we're here with Caroline Scarbrough, and they call you Carly, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to call her Carly from here on out. Well, Carly, thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
All right. Well, Carly, obviously, everything that it takes to be a cheerleader is immense, right? And there's a lot of things that you have to do on a daily basis, but you don't do any of those things alone. The first question I always ask anybody that sits in this interview chair is tell us a little bit about your support system.
I live with my family.
Okay.
My mom and dad are at everything you can think of for Greenville. My little sister she cheers with me too. She's on JV.
Awesome.
My grandparents are at everything. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. It's having that strong family is so important, because especially in a dynamic like cheer, because cheer is something that isn't mastered easily. I bet you spent a ton of time doing it. So tell us about your journey in cheer. When did you start, and what all things are you doing on a daily basis to get yourself to the point where you cheer for us on Friday nights?
I started like in elementary doing competitive cheer. Then in 6th grade, I tried out for the 7th grade team for the school, and I've made it all the way to senior year.
Awesome.
And Miss Bentley would give us like cheers to work on our free time. So whenever we come to practice, we know what we're doing and we can get a lot done. Especially in the weight room, you can get stronger in stunts to lift people.
Awesome. Well, talk to me about the competitive cheer. I know that's a realm that I've got a little girl. She's 4 years old. She's doing like basic gymnastics right now. But when we're there, we see all the trophies and everything for the competitive cheer teams that those groups coach. You travel quite a bit for something like that, right?
Yes, a lot. Every weekend, I think they go somewhere new.
Awesome. What's the coolest place that you ever had an event for a competitive cheer?
Probably in like Louisiana.
Okay.
I think so farthest we went.
Okay, awesome. What memories do you have of doing that when you were younger?
Whenever we went to a cheer competition, we saw the Great Whites, a really cool and like big cheer team.
Okay, awesome.
They had like their own TV show on Netflix and all that.
Oh, wow.
So I was fangirling hard.
I bet you were. That's exciting, and to hear something like that. I know this, when every time I go anywhere and I see like one of the greats football coaches and stuff, I know how it affects me in a positive way, man. I get, like you said, you get in that fan mode real quick in a hurry and wanting them autographs and doing all those things, right? Okay. Talk to me about being on the cheer team here. What is the best part about cheering for Greenville Lion Athletics?
The environment. I think Miss Bentley has really changed the program around. I think she lifts people up truly. She truly wants the best for us. And I just love the environment with hanging out with the girls and be able to cheer on Friday nights with everyone.
Tell me about, you're a senior now in the program, right? Tell me about the difference in responsibility, because you've been in it since you were in 6th grade, right? What's the difference now with your responsibility as a senior than what it might have been as a freshman?
As a freshman, you're new, you can mess up. So people aren't as like hard on you, kind of like they understand that you're new. And as a senior, I feel like people look up to you and like what you're doing. So it's like scared if you mess up more because they're like, oh, they mess up. So you can mess up mostly, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. So knowing that you're a role model now, how has that changed kind of the way that you approach practice and games and stuff?
A little scary because you have to show up with a good attitude. You have to be positive. You have to know your stuff and the routines that you're doing, so people follow you mostly.
Okay, yeah. So you're more accountable to those young ones, right? How do you create an environment as a leader so that the young ones aren't scared to make mistakes? Because obviously you're going to make mistakes in growth no matter what you do. How can you help those younger ones get over that fear and just let them know that, hey, you're going to be great if you just keep going? What do you think you do specifically to help those young kids through that?
Truly just being nice to them, because I think they're nervous just as much as you are. And knowing that it's okay if you mess up, like it's all right, and just forget about it and just move on to the next cheer or move.
Awesome. What would you say is your greatest event cheered at? What was the most fun that you ever had cheering for the Greenville Lions?
I really liked it when we went to cheer camp this summer.
Okay.
Because we never did that before. It was new for all of us. And just seeing the different cheer teams there that were all there for the same purpose, I thought was really cool.
Awesome. What's one biggest takeaways from that cheer camp that you got?
You have to have your team or it's not going to go well. Like, you have to be there for one another.
Absolutely. It's never an individual sport. Cheer is a team sport for sure. No doubt about that. Okay. Let's shift to a little bit lighter. Have you been in Greenville your whole life?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, obviously I haven't been here that long. Okay. What's one thing about Greenville that I may not know that you think is special?
So you know where Quinlan is?
I do.
If you drive kind of that way, there's like a little strip mall, kind of. There's a really good freeze-dried candy store there.
Oh, okay. What's it called? Do you know?
No, but it's like the cutest family members ever. It's a dad with his like younger daughter.
Awesome. Freeze-dried candy. There we go. All right, out towards Quinlan. That's something we all need to know there because that is awesome. Very good. Okay, last question. And again, you're with some of our athletic teams at times, and you probably heard us say this. We talk about a foundational part of our program is love is free, but trust is earned. Have you ever heard us talk about that? Okay. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
Well, love is free. You can love anyone, no matter who they are. Trust, you just have to have people's back and telling them that you're there for them in anything and everything they do. Absolutely.
And being a leader, that trust becomes even more important, right? Very good. Well, I appreciate you so much for being with us, today. And, man, giving us an insight into the cheer program is very exciting because, again, we get to see you ladies in support of us, and we thank you for that. I mean, I know sometimes we're busy and we don't get to say those things, but it truly means a lot for every one of our athletic programs to have you guys there with us every day, keeping us going. Thank you very much. We'll be right back with our next segment. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. A couple of weeks ago, we got to talk with two of our young ladies from the volleyball program, but now we're going to bring another one of our senior leaders, Miss Caitlyn Musil. Caitlyn, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you. Caitlyn, we started off, I think, these conversations with one thing. I know how hard you work. I've been here in 7 months. We worked a lot with you guys in the spring, and you're an extremely hard worker, and you got a strong work ethic. But obviously, with a sport like volleyball, it's hard to play volleyball without being a volleyball player for a long time in your life and doing it year round and being all over the country doing it. So I know you've got a really strong support team to be able to get what you've got done. So talk to us about your support system.
Well, I have 3 brothers and then my parents. My brothers were involved in other sports, and so they kind of understand like the competitiveness and like what it takes to be an athlete. So talking to them about that aspect is nice. And then my parents, they've always tried to come to all my things, all my games, ever since I was really little. And so knowing that like they're there for me at home and they're there for me on the court means a lot.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your volleyball adventure. Like, what year did you start? And give us a little bit of from that starting point to where you are now.
I started in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started actually in Nebraska when I lived there.
Okay.
And then I moved to North Texas when I was in like 5th grade. And the competitive levels were so different. And so that's when I joined like a club league, so outside of school. And I didn't have that experience in Nebraska, so it was a lot different, but it was so much fun and I loved it a lot. So.
Awesome. Playing through, and I know how the club dynamic works with high school volleyball a little bit, but maybe some of our listeners, some of our viewers might not know it. So tell us about how important the club world is to the volleyball scene.
Well, so I started before middle school, so I had a lot of like basics and prior technique and mechanics. So learning that before middle school was important. And you travel a lot. It's definitely such a more like, it's a lot higher of competitive levels, especially like not playing in high school or varsity. The game is a lot different. It's a lot faster.
Yeah. So. You're talking about, you're taking kids from a bunch of different places and mixing them all together. What's the challenge of that club scene when you're talking about that? Because obviously every year the team might look different, right? Yeah. You get to learn how to play with different people. What do you think the biggest challenges are of that?
Definitely team chemistry, like learning how to play together, especially since you have a short time. You start in summer and then winter time.
Yeah. So it's a quick turnaround, and like I said, the next year it could be a completely different group, right? Yeah. That's. Tell us about the greatest trip or the best trip that you had during the club scene.
We went a lot of places. I was in Philly one year, Utah. I went to Minnesota a lot. It was really cold.
Yeah, it is cold. Yeah. I'm hoping my little girl chooses volleyball that's only in the southern parts of the United States one day.
We did go to Vegas in summer, and that was so hot.
Yeah. Don't want to be in Vegas in the summer either. That's a tough place to be. Kind of like being in Arizona in the summer. That's a tough place to be. All right, let's switch gears to here for the Greenville Lions, and let's talk about your experience here. I know you moved here last year. Is that correct? So you've been here for about a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just talk about your experience with the Greenville Lions. What has it meant to you, and what are some things you'll take away from this experience?
Definitely the atmosphere. I know you weren't here last year, and honestly, you made a really big difference in our volleyball program. Ever since spring, we talked about holding a higher standard throughout the whole entire program, just not just varsity level, but throughout the whole program. And I think definitely our team environment, our team chemistry is so much stronger than I've ever experienced, especially at different schools and last year. And to me, that's really special.
Awesome. What goes into building team chemistry? What do you think what kind of efforts do you have to put into building that every day?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, it's not just on the court. On the court, it's a lot of volleyball. We're together 5 days a week outside of school. And so, team dinners, outside of school, bonding experiences, they mean a lot to us, and we carry those even on the court. Having fun with each other and knowing that it's a sport, you're supposed to have fun. Sharing the love for volleyball and the passion, that kind of also adds to the team chemistry.
Awesome. Being a senior in the program obviously is different than any other stage of your career, correct? I mean, there's so much more expected of our seniors. Tell me what have you changed from maybe your junior year to your senior year to bring more of what people call senior leadership to the program?
In my position, I try and be as vocal as possible. And I know some of the younger kids in our program, they watch our games, and some of them look up to me, and being that role model is important, and it's expected. So going for everything, communicating, being uplifting towards your team, that's what makes up a senior leader, and just being there for your team.
Awesome, and you definitely are, and we appreciate that. I know that. Going into our next question, and you're talking about, I think I love to always kind of educate some of our people out there that might not be volleyball fans, right? And I know the game a little bit, but I don't know it as deep as people that live it every day. But you play libero for us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And some people might come to the game every once in a while and they'll wonder, why in the world is that one person wearing a different colored jersey? Well, why don't you tell them what the role of libero is, why they wear a different colored jersey, and what it means for you to play libero for us?
Well, you wear a different jersey because there's substitutions in volleyball, and you only get a limited number. But whenever I trade out with someone in the front row, it doesn't count.
Okay.
So it's not a substitution. But the title of a libero, they're usually the best passer, but they stay on the court for so much time that they have a big role. And to me, part of that role is being a leader on the court, communicating not only with your defense, but also your offense, telling them, about the block, where to swing, and then communicating with your defense, seeing where the hitters like to go, where the block's at.
And they call kind of the libero as the defensive specialist, right? Is that kind of where they talk about it? But the funny thing about volleyball is it transitions from one hit to the next. You transition from defense to offense, right? So that's a pretty unique still. So not only are you starting the play with defense, but you're really starting the offensive transition, right, with the pass to the setter and doing all those things, okay? Talk about the challenges of playing a position like that and how much responsibility you have as a libero.
Yeah, so you can't get a set or a kill if you don't have a pass. So that does add a lot of pressure, but in the team, if one aspect of our game isn't quite meeting expectations, everyone else has to make adjustments. So I know that, everyone makes errors, everyone's gonna make a mistake, but if and when I do make that, I know that my setter and my hitters have my back. So having that like faith and trust in them helps a lot. But it's really like starting the plays is like takes a lot of mental capabilities. So.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's transition. I know you haven't been here much longer than I have. You've been here a little bit longer than I have. But what's your favorite part of Greenville, Texas?
It's tough. The people.
Okay.
It's like it's so much different from where I was at. Everyone, it's like a family. Like everyone here is so close.
Awesome. That's great to hear, and I'm grateful that you're having that experience with us. And I know that's the way I feel about it every day. It's been so much fun to be here. It's been challenging, obviously. There's a lot of things to do, but it's also been a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
All right, Caitlyn, I'll finish my last question with what I've asked everybody else. Since we've been here, we talked about kind of a foundational behavioral mindset of ours is, love is free, but trust is earned, right? And so when we say that, what does that mean to you?
Well, love is a lot. Sometimes it can be difficult to hand out to anybody, but trust is a different level of that. Like we're supposed to love everybody, but trust is earned. Like throughout the team, we have to know, like, oh, I have this girl's back. I have this back. So talking earlier about how, when part of our game is lacking, everyone else has to pick up. Like if I don't have that trust in my team that we're not going to get a set, we're not going to get a kill if I don't have the pass, that makes the game a lot more difficult to play. And so I love my team freely, but trust is earned. And that we've definitely given each other that this season.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us one insight to your life, insight to a little bit about what the libero means to a volleyball program, and more importantly, your insight on trust. We appreciate you so much. You do such a great job for us, and I look forward to seeing our volleyball team continue to grow with you.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a great day.
You too.
We'll be right back with our next segment. Welcome back to this week's Coach's Corner. Earlier, we got a chance to look into a Friday night experience group with our cheer program, and now we get a chance to look into a second group. These young ladies you see working at halftime every single day, but what you don't see is the amount of hours that they put in daily, getting here early each morning, leaving here late each night. And of course, I'm talking about the first ever drill team in the state of Texas, our Flaming Flashes. And today from the Flashes, we've got Brooklyn Sampson and Veronica Ibarra. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So first of all, I think some congratulations in order because we are the Flashes of the week. Is that correct?
Yes,
sir.
Awesome. Well, tell me about that. Tell me about that experience. Well, Brooklyn, we'll start with you. When you heard that for the first time, I know because I know how excited you were because I heard it outside of my office when you came in and had a chance to tell your mom and everybody that you've grown up around, being around here. But tell me about that feeling and what it was like.
It was surprising, but very rewarding because my hard work had finally paid off, and it was.
Yeah, awesome to be recognized, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Veronica, tell us a little bit about it.
I was really happy to get it. Like I felt proud of myself because my hard work is finally getting recognized.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it definitely is getting recognized, and we appreciate you guys so much. I mean, we call it, again, the Friday night experience because without you guys, it's not ever just the games. It's not ever just the volleyball games, the football games, the basketball games. It's the whole experience for our town to be able to see every kid in our program and the great talents that they have. And when we talk about the Flashes, obviously dance is one, it's an athletic part. I mean, many people sometimes don't look at dance as athletic, and I can tell you this, it's probably one of the most athletic and most demanding things that you can do is being a dancer. So obviously there's been a lot of hard work being put into being a dancer, right? But one of the first things before we get into your individual hard work, I like to ask is about the support systems that have gotten you to where you are. Because to do what you do, you've put in a ton of years of work, right? And that means you have great people around you, right? So Brooklyn, tell us a little bit about your support system.
Well, my support system is my family, and they're very supporting. They've been with me through everything. They've been just very supporting.
Okay, who all do you have at home?
My mom, my grandma, my little brother, and my older brother left for college, but he was there for me.
Awesome. And he was a graduate of Greenville as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. Veronica, tell us about yours.
I have my parents and a lot of my family from my mom and my dad's side. They've just been really supportive, and they do so much for me.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't be here without them.
Awesome, awesome to hear. Okay, so let's get into dance, and let's talk about just your finding your love for dance. At what age, Brooklyn, did you start to realize that dance is something that you wanted to carry into this level?
Well, I've always loved dancing ever since I was little, and it's always been a passion of mine. So as young as I could start dancing, that's when I knew I wanted to be a part of this.
Okay, awesome. Veronica, same question.
My mom was a Flash, and so like I've always had that in the back of my head. I was in dance whenever I was younger, and then took a couple breaks, but like I'm finally getting back into it, and it made me realize how much I missed it. And being a Flash, it's like helped me carry my passion for it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's great to have somebody that's actually a legacy in
Yes.
the Flash. So when you and Mom talk about being Flashes, I
Yeah,
mean, how do those conversations go?
She like tells me like how her Flash experience was and how she remembers it, and like how it's so different now, and how like it's improved so much since her years.
Awesome, awesome. I bet those are unique conversations because not always do we get to do the same exact things that our parents got to do,
Yeah.
right? So that's pretty cool. I did not know that till today, and that's awesome to hear. All right, talk to me about the overall experience of being a Flash. Talk to us about your director and what she means to you guys. Either one of
Oh,
you.
you can go first.
She's amazing. She's
Okay.
like the best director. She's very positive. She's always here for us. She's like a mom
Awesome.
at the high school. I missed her.
That's okay. And this is Miss Anna Strickland, right?
Yes, Miss Anna Strickland.
All right, very good.
She's been our assistant director, but she became our head director last year. It was a hard switch, but she really like stepped up, and like our team has improved so much
Awesome.
from just like me being here almost 2 years. Yeah.
That's awesome, awesome. Brooklyn, anything to add to that?
She is very amazing. One thing I love about her is she works very hard with us, not only to look good, but just to like be good, and
Yeah.
she just
Sets a high standard for you guys.
Yes.
She's trying to set the standard. Like we're the oldest drill team in the world, and
Right.
you can see it in her hard work.
That's right. That's right. It's big shoes when you are the oldest and you are the first, and you want to be one of those that set a standard for what it should look like. And believe me, you ladies do an incredible job. I mean, I get to
Thank
see you
you.
kind of a little bit every once in a while in the morning, see your practice phases and
Yes.
stuff. So it's pretty good. So here's what most people don't know about the dance team. All they kind of see is your halftime performances, whether you be at a football game, a basketball game, or something like that. Or they get to see maybe your spring show, which I know is your biggest event. We'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little bit. But what does your day look like, Brooklyn, as a Flash?
a normal Monday, I would wake up around 5:30, be at practice at before 7, and
Just do the normal day, but 5:30 wake up call. I bet not many people know that that's what our Flashes are doing on a
No.
daily basis. All right, Veronica, what's the biggest challenge of that kind of schedule?
Oh, I'm always tired during school. All the classwork, it's like you have classwork, and then I'm in cosmetology along with Brooklyn,
Oh,
and then we
awesome.
have to worry about getting our hours, and then we have a lot of classwork on top of that because we have core classes back to back. And then just a lot goes into Flashes, like a lot of your time, especially around spring show.
Okay,
Yes.
so that gets us into spring show, and again, many people might not know what it is, but I would love more people to be able to see it because it is really amazing to see you guys. So tell us about spring show first of all, Brooklyn, tell us a little bit about what the spring show is, and then I'll come to Veronica and tell us about the preparation for spring show and everything that goes into it.
So the floor show is dances we learned from January to April, May, and we show them off and how much time we took to learn and work really hard. And
all right. Veronica, I know you were talking about, you're not always getting to do everything, show everything I've learned during football season. I guess this spring shows a chance to do all that, right?
So like we go to camps. Like I went to officer camp this year since I'm a social, and we learned a lot of new dances, and a lot of those dances we don't use during football season. We use them for spring show.
Okay.
So during January, May, we start preparing for those, and in April we start going after school for I think 4 hours. We
Wow.
practice. Yes.
Goodness
So
gracious.
late dinners,
Yeah.
late nights.
So really finishing up, you're finishing up the school year, trying to get all those things taken care of, but then also you're wrapping up for the biggest show of the year, right? Awesome. Well, yeah, you talked about being a captain. Obviously, you've been a Flash for how many years now?
2.
2 years. So you transitioned from last year being a line member to this year being a captain, or you said
No,
a
I'm a
social.
social.
So tell me about what a social is.
A social, they organize events. They're like the event organizers.
Okay.
So like every month we have sisterhood, which is like a little team bonding. So I believe this month we're gonna do friendship bracelets, and we're all gonna share with our bigs and littles, and we're gonna give them letters.
Awesome.
So, and we just like plan little fun events to like get our minds off of the stress and all the other like stressful events that we have going on.
Okay, so more of a person to kind of build team chemistry,
Yes.
right? Okay, very good. When you go as a social, you're in charge of building team chemistry, right? What is something that you feel like is important when you're building that team chemistry? What is something you try to make sure you do?
You want to make sure that like they're not just sticking with the same group of people, and you want to make sure that they're going out to everybody and making sure like everybody's included, and you want to make sure like that as you're doing it that it's all running smoothly. You want it to run smoothly so that way you can stay on top of it.
Yeah, awesome stuff right there. Okay, we're going to get into a little bit of the lighter side. You guys have probably been with your mom being a Flash, and I know you guys have been in Greenville for a while. Y'all been here quite longer than I have, right? So what's something that's great about Greenville in your mind?
It's a small town, so it's like everywhere you go, you know a lot of people. It's a nice environment, and like the people here are really nice, and like they're welcoming.
Awesome. Brooklyn, anything to add to that?
no.
No? Okay, awesome. All right, last question I ask everybody is this, and you guys, like I said, aren't in our athletic program every day, but I bet you've heard us talk about, a foundational piece of the things that we think we have to do to build a great program, which is love is free, but trust is earned, right? So when I say something like that, what does that mean to you, Brooklyn? When I say love is free, what do you think that means in our program?
Love is free. I feel like you could always share the love. You could always be nice to somebody, but earning their trust is on a deeper level, and respect.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Veronica, anything to add to that?
Like you. It's hard. I'm trying to think.
That's
I
okay.
have it, but it's not coming in my head. Loving people, you have to give people like unconditional love because you never know what's going on in their lives. But then again, if like they need to have like your trust and you need to have theirs. You know, like it needs to be reciprocated. And if it's not reciprocated, however you say it, it's
That's
like
good.
hard to.
It's pretty good. Better than I could say it. I can
Yeah.
promise you that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, ladies, I thank you for spending time with me today and giving our fans and our community members a little bit more insight into our dance team and everything that you guys do to put the hard work in to represent the Lions every single week. So thank you so much. Have a great
you for
day,
having
and
us.
absolutely
thank you.
enjoyed it. We'll be back for our final segment. Welcome back to Coach's Corner and our final thoughts for the week. In week one, I talked to you about a question that we ask when we start to design a program for people is quite simply, what is the life you want, require of you, and demand of you each and every day? And it always takes us on a path that we've been through, but it takes us to 3 internal battles that we fight every single day. And we talk about them in our program, the battle between intentional and impulsive, the battle between being on purpose or basically on autopilot, and then the battle of being extremely skilled with my actions and being resistant to doing the things that it takes to be successful. As we go into these next few weeks, I want to give you an insight into those, because those are the discipline traits that it takes. It's intentional, purposeful, and skillful are things that we all try to achieve. But where that comes in today is you met a lot of young people today that are leaders in their program. And we talked today about building team chemistry and doing the things that it takes to be really strong and really united as a group. And I think one of the important things I heard, even though it might not have been the term that they said, but the thing I heard from them was their intention behind what they do. Leaders don't build team chemistry by accident. It's never an impulsive, an autopilot, or resistant action. It's always an intentional, purposeful action. It's a skill, really, and that's why we talk about building discipline skill, being intentional, purposeful, and skillful. You have to have an understanding of what you're trying to get accomplished every day, an intention when I walk in that room of this is what we're going to get done, a purpose driven by team chemistry in this case, or by simply daily action in whatever you're looking to do to achieve the life that you want every single day. But I think those battles that we fight, the intentional versus the impulsive, the purposeful versus the autopilot action, and the skillful versus resistant, those are 3 that no matter how disciplined you are, you're gonna fight them each and every single day. And over the next few weeks, I'd love to get deeper into those things. We'll start next week by talking about intention versus impulsive, because on our venture to being the program that we want to be as a whole, that's going to be the biggest battle we fight every single day. We deal with high school age kids and high school and middle school age kids, I should say. And those kids, a lot of times, impulsiveness is one of the reasons why they struggle so much. It's how am I supposed to respond to things, and what's my natural reaction versus being intentional with a response to what the situation demands of you. I can't wait to get in those with you. And if you ever need anything from me, you can always reach out. If you want to further these discussions, please reach out. Or if you want to hear from another group that we haven't heard from yet, and you'd like us to bring them into one of these shows, we would love to hear your feedback. Thank you for being with us again this week. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a great evening, and go Lions.
This video has been brought to you by GEUS. GEUS is your community-owned provider for electric, internet, cable TV, and true local programming.